Hello everybody, welcome back to another reading. Today we're taking a look at the very recent case of Michael Joseph Vaughn, aged 5, otherwise known as Monkey, from Fruitland in Idaho. Apparently he went missing on July the 27th, and I've been looking around to get some information about what's been going on, what people think may have happened, or something along those lines. All I could really see is that they suspect he just wandered off the house or wandered off the lawn to go to a neighbor's house, and that's the last time he was seen. So somewhere between their house and the neighbor's house, potentially, he went missing, or maybe before that, we don't really know. But anyway, I was asked to do a tarot reading on his case, so we're going to do that today. We're going to start off with the Creatures of the Magical Forest deck, this one right here, and then later we're going to move on to the vice versa deck, which is this one right here with the cards with double sides. So as per usual, I'm an intuitive reader. That means I tell you what the cards tell me, what I see in the cards. That often leads apparently to me misreading a card. For instance, I'll be holding a 7 of Cups thinking it's a 6 of Cups. I don't know, that happens. Either way, that's just how things go. We're just going to start shuffling the cards, and once I got enough here for you to look at, we'll take a look what we got and see what we can find. So let's go. Okay, so we got quite a few interesting cards here. At least I find them quite interesting. I'm starting to see a sort of a pattern here. Whenever I was like focusing on him and on his case, I kept hearing death by misadventure coming up in my mind. I don't know if you know what that means. Basically, that means wandering off and maybe doing something that you shouldn't have. And in any case, when I first got this Knights of Pentacles in reversed with the reverse judgment, I thought, yeah, that's definitely something that would fit that description, because reversed knights, well, the Knight of Pentacles is a little bit more careful perhaps because they tend to plan things out a bit more, but this seems to me as misjudging a situation and thinking that they can handle it even though they can't. And over here we've got the 4 of Pentacles in reverse, which is also about like careful investments, careful planning, that type of thing. Maybe being a little bit stingy perhaps, but I feel like in this case it almost seems to line up pretty well with the first 2 cards. This is looking like he thought that he could do a certain thing, go on an adventure, and know his way around, be able to come out of it, whatever it is that he thought he could do. And turned out that was a miscalculation on his part. Because we saw here also, we see a King of Swords and the 3 of Wands upright. Yeah, this is like a step 1, 2, 3 if you want to look at it that way. By which I mean, like, first of all, we have here this I wouldn't call it pride before the fall, but just certainty that he knew what he was doing. And this is also represented by the King of Swords here. This is the king, right? Yes, I got the right this time. King of Swords, and as the King of Swords normally very logical and tends to think things through, is pretty much aware of his surroundings, but in this case it's in reverse, but it is next to this 3 of Wands, which you can see has a little boat in the background, so this is them thinking that they can go and do this thing. But that turned out not to be the case, because afterwards we see here the 10 of Pentacles in reverse, which is normally like missing out on an inheritance or something along those lines, or the ships that you thought were going to come in didn't come in after all, and you're kind of left with some type of debt or something like that. And it seems to me like this is the moment that all the things they thought they knew for sure actually weren't so. So this is, I think, where whatever accident befell him, because I do feel like that's what's happened here, actually happened. Because that is like a pretty big loss moment here with the 10 of Pentacles in reverse. And the second row is actually really sad if you look at it that way, because it's the moment where he finally realizes that things are wrong. And then we see the world in reverse next to the Four of Cups in reverse. Now the world in reverse came across to me as the world doesn't even know. I'm hidden, basically, and the whatever options he may have had, he didn't see or chose to ignore for whatever reason. Like, I get this impression like maybe, you know, sometimes a kid ends up stuck in a well somewhere, and then they just they're stuck in this thinking loop, like they need certain things to be so, and otherwise it just doesn't work out. I definitely thought like that as a kid as well. Whenever something went wrong, I would only see the options that I had beforehand determined were available, and everything else that was there would just be discarded because that's just not part of your mindset in that point in time. So I feel like this is him feeling very lost and alone, and just not seeing or not wanting to see any of the options that were before him, because we also see here the Seven of Cups and the Nine of Swords. Seven of Cups is in reverse and the Nine of Swords is upright. Now, Nine of Swords upright is anxiety and worry and that type of thing. Very dark, gloomy thinking. And the Seven of Cups next to that, particularly next to these other two over here, is not seeing any options, or maybe thinking of all the things that they could have done, maybe they should have done, like the coulda, woulda, shoulda thoughts that you tend to get when you've done something stupid or something. They were coming up and worrying him, causing a lot of great worry and panic. Then we see here the King of Cups in reverse, the Four of Wands in reverse, and the Ten of Cups upright. So the kingly energy from the swords back there has now turned to cup energy, and this is basically the whole emotional wave that you get over yourself once the panic has kind of settled down into like this fear and loss feeling. This is him feeling very much emotions right now, and also kind of looking back at the family that they aren't able to get to right now because of this situation he finds himself in. This is, however, followed by the Ten of Cups, and that could be a rescue, but when I first saw this at the end of the line, it kind of made me feel like these were the final moments and or days, and if you were to believe in that sort of thing, then this is entry into heaven. I don't really want to put it that clear, or definitively, but it does show an arch with a sun in the background and these two people waving at other people who are leaving, that type of thing. Like some type of release is what this is trying to tell me anyway. So that could mean all sorts of things. It's just with this lineup, it seems to point towards some type of release, but not because they were freed from whatever situation they found themselves in, which would be really sad. But we're not done yet, because we still have our vice versa deck over here. We could ask some questions, maybe it's for some more details, some more clarification to what happened here. Maybe we'll have some more things to look at, because the vice versa deck has a lot more imagery in it. Let's see what we can find. Seven of Swords is the first one that comes out. Now this looks like sneaking away and potentially being, or at least having been given information that turned out to be incorrect. And I'm thinking that maybe the person who did that on purpose, but not with this result in mind. More like how kids will tell each other, like, oh, if you go to that house, you'll find a witch or something along those lines. And maybe somebody else had given him some information that he wanted to check out, and that's what led to this. So that's what we're getting over here. In any case, working with information that was incorrect. And sneaking away as well, because the guards in the background are not paying attention to him sneaking away with the 5 swords that he's got. And there may have been some animals involved here, because there's this dog over here on our 10 of Pentacles, which has come back again, in this case upright. So this is more like the beforehand situation, like he's sure he's gonna go find something great. That might also be what this card over here was saying initially, like, okay, he thought he was gonna find something really cool, but it turned out to be nothing, or at least not as cool as he thought it was going to be at least not worth his adventure. And here, this is the before. So first he sneaks off to go figure something out, maybe go chase after a dog or something, whatever he may have heard, and that was the goal. And then we have the Four of Swords right next to that, which is taking a break, having to rest and take a step back. Like, the picture that's now forming is he got information about something that was supposed to be really cool, right? Or something that he wanted to go see. He went on this great adventure, and after a while it turned out to be way too much for him. Like, maybe it was way further away from the house than he was initially anticipating, and that's where he needed to take a break. Then we got the Eight of Cups, which is usually letting something go, walking away from something, and you can literally see here this shining star in the background is being ignored because he's just kind of looking at the cups. Like, I don't know, this isn't really what I had in mind, and maybe it's getting dark because we're getting a dark card as well. I should probably go home. Maybe he got lost along the way. Like, by the time he decided to give up on chasing this, whatever it was kind of dark and late. Now the Five of Wands is like some type of combat or maybe fighting other people, but I think in this case it could also just be fighting the elements, because we do see the volcano in the background pointing towards elemental changes that maybe as a 5-year-old he wasn't equipped to handle or deal with. So perhaps this is him after deciding to go back home, finding it really difficult, finding the terrain difficult, finding the temperature difficult. I don't know what type of night it was when he went missing, but it was in the middle of July, so I imagine it wasn't necessarily the temperature, although the temperatures can drop pretty low at night. So I feel like this is him struggling against the elements and perhaps also just getting lost, because he may have wandered off so far that he didn't recognize the area anymore, and it all seemed rather foreign and dangerous. Then we see the Nine of Wands, and in particular I'm interested in the cave in the background. Like, this seems like they found a spot which they thought was safe to hide in, so they went in there. And I don't know who this person, or if there was any person there. I kind of feel like we shouldn't really focus on that one. It's more the fact that this is a wounded warrior who looks tired and he needs a place to rest, and there here is this cave that might be a good place for him to go. So we got a resting place that they might want to check out, and maybe because they are 5, they had like this idea that maybe there was going to be some magical creature in the cave that could help them out. Maybe they saw a cartoon with something like that in it, who knows. So then we have the Ace of Swords in reverse, and this is the daylight side. So I'm thinking this is basically them thinking, oh well, if I just spend the night here, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be fine. And in the morning, I'm gonna go out and find the path before me, because if you look at the background there, there's actually a path forming between the trees. So I feel like this is them having some type of optimistic hope that in the morning they would be able to find their way. Alright, so we have the Eight of Pentacles in reverse. This is somebody showing an apprentice how things work. And I get the impression that maybe he heard from somewhere, from someone, how he should handle the forest, what he should do, what he should look for. Maybe he saw that on TV somewhere. I don't know if his parents never did that, then maybe somebody else told him that. I believe his grandfather lived near him as well, so maybe they had some story times together about what they got up to when they were young. I don't know, but it looks like he was optimistic about his chances in the morning because he had heard a thing or two about what he should do in this situation, and felt that he could handle himself accordingly. Then we get the Queen of Swords, and she is in a very cold environment, so I feel like this is maybe their enthusiasm waning, because they suddenly feel like, hey, wait, actually, it's not as easy as I thought it was. Maybe there's certain things that I don't know for sure and that I can't figure out on my own. And this is kind of like the enthusiasm draining away, because as you can see, the Queen of Swords is a very stern looking person. It's almost like reality knocking on the door saying, the thing you thought you were going to be able to just pull off, yeah, think again, because that's not really going to happen. So this is probably come morning, or maybe just before morning, because darkest before the dawn is a thing for real. We do get this Six of Wands coming out though, so I think that even though he was realizing that it's going to be harder than he thought it would be, he still thought of himself as the victor. Like maybe he really felt like he was on a quest and was going to do it and come out victorious. Like the belief is still here in any case. Can we get some cards on whether he's gonna be found? I'll go back to the other deck for that. Knave of Wands. This is basically the Page of Wands, and that signals to me, because it's upside down, that if we continue to be very diligent and don't just rush off and run in all directions, we'll have a much better chance of finding him. And it also kind of reminds me of when you see the people doing the search party thing. They walk around these large sticks to poke the ground to see if there's any changes in like the soil density or stuff like that, just to see if there's anything there that they might be looking for. It kind of reminds me of that, because they're also holding a really large staff here. So I feel like they are going to be found as long as people stay vigilant. Also, his eye is huge over here, so that most of the cards in this deck have huge eyes, but this one in particular, so he's really paying a close attention and using his tools to his best of his ability, which kind of signals to me that people shouldn't go out and just randomly try to do their own little search and rescue things. Really just go through the official channels and make sure to follow their directions so that they know what areas have been searched, what areas haven't been searched, what the results were, etc. So make sure to stay focused. And I think that's all I'm gonna get for today for Michael Joseph Vaughn. So it looks like he wandered off on his own little great adventure and got in some trouble along the way. At least that's what the cards are trying to say. And he really felt like he could figure things out on his own, and feels like he was the hero, at least in his own story. So make sure to go through the official channels if you want to help the search in Fruitland, Idaho for Michael Joseph Vaughn. That's all I'm going to get for him today. Hope you found that interesting. In any case, thanks for watching. Be sure to leave a like and a comment. I really appreciate it, and it helps the channel grow. I'll see you next time, and bye-bye for now.